I'm Marilyn Call, and I am Gary's supervisor, and I'm going to be doing a 6-month job performance review with Gary today, and I really appreciate you coming to interpret for me. Hi, Gary.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
Can you believe you've been doing this job for 6 months now?
I know, I can't believe the time has just gone by so fast. It's really wonderful.
So, how are you enjoying your job of coordinating the deaf education program so far?
Oh, I am enjoying it a lot.
That's good to know. I've been watching you and I can tell you enjoy your work, and that's probably why you're successful at it. Today, since it's been 6 months, it's really important that we kind of look back at your work, find out what's being challenging for you, what's going well, and also what's really important about this meeting today is, well, and I can kind of tell you're going to come out and have a satisfactory or above evaluation, then you get a 1-step raise. So that should excite you a little bit.
Okay, sounds good. And yes, it is very exciting.
Okay, have you ever gone through one of these evaluations before, working under the state of Utah?
Yes, I have. It's been a while since I've experienced
Yeah, I forgot. You used to work at the School for the Deaf, didn't you?
That's right.
Good. So, really I prefer just to sit informally and talk about how things are going and ask where you need support and where I can help you out and find out what kind of things you think are going well. But because we're under state government, we have to follow a pretty specific process. We have to go through some certain goals. So that's what we'll be doing, and we'll try and make it as informal as possible, but we do have to follow a certain format to make it fair for everybody. Is that all right with you? Okay, the first goal we're going to go through is...
Yep, that's okay.
Okay, the first goal that we're going to talk about is your technical effectiveness. And this doesn't mean how good you are at computers. This means how good you are at doing your job, which is developing and implementing community education programs for the deaf. So this, like to get an outstanding rating, this is how you would have to do your job. You would have to consistently perform all job responsibilities with a high degree of quality, timeliness, and precision, and always apply sound technical approaches to your areas of responsibilities. Keep abreast of and use relevant state-of-the-art practices viewed as a technical resource by other staff. And I want you to know that I have rated you as an outstanding in this area because of the way you had the idea to set up webcams in areas throughout the state. How did you get that idea, and how did you make that successful?
Well, I felt the idea coming up, and I had so many ideas, and I had a working goal, and I thought I'd work toward that, changing things to help the community. I received feedback from the people who work with me, and that was wonderful.
Well, I know you just taught a class on deaf culture to the St. George group by using the video remote technology. Have you been able to look at the evaluations for how that class went? And what kind of response did you get?
Well, I found that students were learning more about the culture, and I was looking at the evaluations, and people want to actually learn more. And we'll keep going it with them. We'll keep going at it.
Great, so it was mostly positive, even though you were doing it from the Deaf Center. They felt like they still got a lot out of it, even though you weren't there in person. Did anyone complain that you should go down there in person?
No, they didn't mind at all. They actually felt comfortable and with me at the Deaf Center, and we were able to connect more. It was really a good situation.
Okay, that's great. Well, I'm really excited about you developing this technology and finding a way to make it work. And I think we're just beginning, and that's why I gave you an outstanding in your technical effectiveness, because of the way we're able to offer classes to a lot more people throughout the state. So that's great. Okay, the next one is planning and organization. And on that, I gave you an above standard, and let me just read what that means. That means you have regularly assessed the needs, you've analyzed the data, prioritized the activities, evaluated results, and revised approaches as needed when planning to accomplish work assignments. Uses effective time management strategies to achieve acceptable results in most situations. And I feel like where you really did well in this area in your planning was before you came up with a lot of ideas of classes you wanted to offer, you came up with that survey to try and find out what deaf and hard of hearing people throughout the state, what kind of classes that they wanted. So how did you get the most response? Did you get a better response interviewing in person or online? Or I heard that you got back over 150 responses, and I want me to tell you how you were tell me how you became so successful at that.
Well, I also met with people, and they were really motivated and really positive in their responses. And I would meet with different people in person. And I would also ask different people for advice, different ways that I can include the different things that they put down. Like, what's this and what's that? Maybe incorporate it better and working together. And I got wonderful feedback. And it's really important to notice what we can improve on. Because that's what the people need, that's what they want. So it's important to add and keep on improving so that people can be satisfied.
Well, I just want to let you know I'm really pleased that you took the time to really find out what people wanted before you just went ahead and set up a lot of classes. And I know that since we've just been doing this, the Deaf Center, for 6 months, it's probably taken a lot of time just to plan a few classes. But I'm excited because the classes that you've delivered, they look like they've been really successful. Can you tell me a little bit more about, like, kind of the average attendance at the classes and what the evaluations say? Did you end up with good evaluations?
I'm noticing people, they are very satisfied with the classes that we're offering. We're getting a lot of support more to continue this program. Some are less satisfied than others. Maybe a lot of people that weren't satisfied needed more technology support, and then they would be satisfied with it better. I want people to have an opportunity to become satisfied and to work directly with them. Not just one person I can't work with, no, all together, all inclusive.
That's good feedback. So what do you feel like you can do to solve those problems?
So it's important that like 3 months before the class is set up, to test and make sure everything is planned out, make sure everything is prepared, and we're going to try again and again to have trust and confidence that the technology is set up appropriately. And then if a problem does happen, then we can fix it on the spot. Maybe 20 or 30 minutes before, we can test everything, make sure it's ready. And it really helps more positive feedback. It really helps make sure everyone's on the same page. So it's important to do everything before you start the lecture. And I don't want something, last minute that we didn't do before and now we're all in a panic. If we can do it like 20 or 30 minutes before, we'll be ready.
I think that's a really good plan. It looks like you've discovered that offering successful classes is a lot more than just hiring good teachers. There's a lot of little details that you have to think about, and some of those things you learn from experience. But overall, I am very pleased with your organizational skills, and I just think you're really paying attention to those details that make the difference. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So the last goal that we have here that we need to talk about is your ethics and your professionalism. And I just gave you a standard on that. And I guess I rated you just down a little to standard just because of that one time when you asked someone that came to the class on a date. And that, I don't know, maybe you didn't understand because the deaf community is so small, but that really, you should not do things like that while you're on work time. I'm not saying you can't ever date anyone who comes to the classes, but don't do that in the workplace. We talked about that before, and I do feel like that problem's taken care of.
Yes, I do.
And you're lucky, the girl didn't complain. It sounds like she wanted to go out on a date with you, but someone else complained that they saw you. And so that's just that's just not a professional behavior. So just make sure, you know, if you want to ask someone on a date, that you do it outside of the work environment. But other than that, I think you've got really good work ethics. You come to work on time, you work really hard while you're there, and I've really been pleased with 99%, you know, of your behavior. So I gave you a standard this time. It will probably go up next time now that you've learned from that one experience. Is there anything you want to add about goals you have for the next 6 months?
I will definitely do that. I will make goals for myself, and I'll make sure it's appropriate in the workplace and outside. I'll make sure that when I'm in work, I'll work toward those goals.
Okay, that sounds great, and I appreciate you meeting with me today, and I'm really glad to have you on board. You're doing a fantastic job. Thank you.
Thank you.